like it makes sense that a more experienced, in this case, storyteller would know the tells, and it's like you don't have to talk to each other, but you still communicate, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And it only comes to experience, because I mean I've had the same thing with D&D and having evil characters in the party, where they play their little subversive song and dance so that they're not openly disruptive to the party whilst furthering their agenda. And like to a new DM, that's very hard to pick up, and the evil character needs to play things rather openly to express to the DM, this is what I'm doing. Whereas a more experienced DM can be like, okay, yeah, no, I can see what you're doing here. They can just pick it up by looking at the signs rather than having to be told.
Yeah.
And if y'all are, if you're at a good break point though, to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll shut up and move on.
He's just excited to be playing the game. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very understandable.
Tuesday and Wednesday. Oh, fucking right.
Yeah.
That's right. You're going from D&D tonight, and you're swinging down to Vampire on a Wednesdays down to San Antonio, Texas. With shameless plug for Coffee Cat. Coffee Cat runs Vampire the Masquerade San Antonio by night on Wednesdays.
That way. Hold on. That way.
Yes.
Yeah, that way.
That way.
That way.
Even if it wasn't that way, I just take I just go like this, whoop, and now you can point in the right direction. So.
That guy.
Yeah.
Just point.
New ST.
Heck yeah.
I'm so proud.
I'm trying. I really am. I feel like I'm so underprepared.
Good.
That's
Never
called
lose
running
that
a
feeling.
game.
That's when the creativity flows.
Oh yeah.
So good morning, Cyart. Welcome, Baloo. If this is your first time watching us roleplay, then hey, sit back and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. This game has been going on for a little over a year, but hopefully it won't be too overwhelming for you. You can get right into it. And also, this is, as I am often quoting myself to say, because I'm the humblest person I know, this is a chance for you all to see that I can walk the walk, not just talk the talk in the workshops. And so some of the things that might happen in workshops might show up on Tuesdays. Actually, the whole setting was a workshop. We spent about 2 months on the channel last year, building this area and NPCs and events and whatnot. So yep, talk the talk and walk the walk. J-Man there dropping the Tuesdays. Thank you for joining us also, J-Man. And for gifting that sub over to Lethality Complex. And as a reminder to you all, even if you're watching Coffee Cat run Vampire, at least have me open in a side tab so you can enter our mini raffle. Since Wednesday, this is the third Wednesday of the month. I won't begrudge you for it as long as I call your name and you're like, I'm here, give me minis. That's fine. That's all. Can you fog a mirror? That's what I'm looking for.
Mordecai cannot.
Through magic.
Yes. Through magic.
All right, so let's pick up where we have kind of left off. We left off back at the Ossuary with Bright and Selene kind of colluding, making a plan, and as I said earlier, meanwhile across town, we have Mordecai. Mordecai, you are brought in your very simple, your prison garb. You're not exactly, you're manacled, but it's not like they're super tight, and you can keep your hands in front of you. You have 2 guards taking you in, and the door opens, and who should be sitting at the table, but your new fast friend, Investigator Jacob Stillwaters, and scene.
Mr. Silverleaf, would you please take a chair?
Are we getting rid of the manacles?
Not just yet. Given what happened last time, it would be best to end up here keeping you under wraps for the time being. You can thank your dear friend Bright for that privilege.
Fair enough.
A glass of water is put in front of each of you, and one guard goes goes through the door, and the door closes, and the other guard is on the inside, watching what's happening here.
I'm gonna take a sip of the water.
How bold of you!
Mordecai, Mr.
Jacob.
Silverleaf,
Mm-hmm.
what exactly are we looking at here? Right now, I have an understanding that Bright may have just ended up here causing the immolation of one of the town guards, and it's not looking too good. And given on how thick as thieves you and your compatriots are, perhaps you can offer me a little bit of insight. Did he mistreat her in any way? Was he involved in something that he shouldn't have? Please, trying to understand the situation as to why someone would immolate an officer of the law in a time of crisis.
First off, in the room, is there one of the truth detector sticks thingies?
There is. If there's an honesty obelisk, it's well hidden. It just seems to be a very plain stone room, wooden table, wooden chairs, and each of you have a cup of water.
Well, to be honest with you, the way that Bright performs magic is a little bit beyond my scope.
So there was magic involved.
I would imagine so. I saw hand gestures and arcane sigils.
What sort of magic would this be?
I don't know. She uttered some words, and next thing I know, the guy's walking away.
No speaking, no words were uttered, nothing along those lines.
From what I could tell, it was a spell, and then he walked away. And then the rest is history.
Mr. Silverleaf, I understand that you wish to end up protecting your hair friend right now. In any other circumstance, I would applaud the loyalty, but at this point, I currently have to end up dealing with a lot of dead, and right now we are significantly short-handed, specifically because of the crisis, and your friend ended up not assisting in that particular regard. And running did not end up aiding that mere circumstance. Honestly, I was expecting to have this entire thing wrapped up before supper last night. Now it has just gotten more complicated. So, what can you tell me for certain?
I can only tell you what I saw, which is exactly what I just told you.
I'd like to roll an insight check.
And I would like Mordecai. Now he did have words. I mean, so there was. Remember, Bright is like, "You should go walk." And he's like, "Yeah, I should probably go for a walk." And then he kind of like turned and went into the flames. But if you're carefully wording things here, pardon me.
It's exactly the truth.
And
It's a little bit
you're white lying.
white lying.
I will still call for a deception, in this case, because it is skirting.
Can't be that hard. Does Bright suffer from an affliction of sorts? Water on the mind? Is she particularly this prone to causing violence and mayhem through her use of magic? I have to wonder. Not at all. Well, then this is a terrible time for her to start breaking bad.
I was confused as to what was going on, really. And I am concerned for her, yes, but this isn't something that she does. She doesn't do things like that.
You know, that leads to a good question. Well, if she doesn't do things like that, what was the purpose of ending up causing man to immolate himself? I'm assuming Bright is not whimsical enough to end up here causing death without purpose, or even risk it.
No.
She seemed awfully concerned when we first met. It's not the attitude of a killer.
She's not.
Well, no, she is. She is a killer at this point, full confessed. I need to understand why.
Well, we were investigating that tower and trying to determine how it was that we could get potentially past any of the barriers. And when I touched it, it hurt. So I assumed that that would happen to anyone.
Now, you touched the tower, or you touched the flames?
The flames.
He continues writing as he listens. You only touched them and it caused you, what, burn, mild discomfort? Did it rain like water?
Psychic feedback that really, really hurt.
Psychic kind of looks at you confused.
Like, it didn't actually burn me, but it felt like it.
And what would make you reach out and touch fire of any sort? Are you a bit touched as well, Mr. Silverleaf?
No, not at all. It was an experiment.
An experiment by fear, purposely trying to emulate yourself. And you claim to have touched this.
I wasn't trying to immolate myself. I was trying to determine how it was that we were going to get past it. If I was resistant to fire...
immolate themselves because of a words of your young friend, old friend. Never did work that out. So, you can understand my concern and suspicions here.
I can. But this... Bright's not a killer.
We've already established she is. Or are you just going to tell me that the death of an officer didn't happen, that I didn't have to write up a report and have to end up explaining it to his family? What do I tell them? Don't worry, he's fantastic. He just ended up going on sabbatical, perhaps.
I'm not lying to you.
Then help me make sense of this.
I don't know.
You've traveled with her for some time, yes?
Sometime. I've known her for a couple of months now.
And this has never occurred to you that this seems as odd behavior?
I've never seen her do that before.
What is she capable of, then?
Like I said, it baffles me. I create music. I do not wield the same kind of things that she can.
And yet I saw you flying across the upon a mythical creature that shouldn't exist.
It's because I tinkered it. I created it.
Mordecai, do me a favor here, as you're squirming a bit in the hot seat, and again you're really hungry after coming up here. You had kind of a relaxed morning, as Obley didn't really push buttons, but let's see if you're starting to get a little hangry, please, with a con save.
Right.
All right. So that is a 3 for people who can't see that. So roleplay opportunity. So Hypnotic Gamer, you may not know this if you haven't been with us for a while on Tuesdays, but Mordecai is a little bit, and by that I mean completely, a vampire. And he hasn't eaten for several days, and now Investigator Jacob Stillwaters is doing an excellent job at what he's supposed to do. But unfortunately, Mordecai... Mordecai... Well, that's very positive, Blues. Yes, 3 does beat a 2. So yes, there are 2 other numbers that that Coffee Cat rolled higher than on this con save to not... Well, it's not as bad as the Beast in Vampire, at least not that as we've been running it. Of course, there's been a lot of implied things that have happened. Jacob, can you do me a favor and roll me another insight, please?
So...
All right, so you are...
It's a macabre roll.
This is a macabre roll of a 9. All right. So each of you are getting so into this moment. You know, you're pressing your questions, you're taking notes. Jacob, to the point that you're not noticing that, you know, Mordecai is leaving like gouges in the wooden table as he's like clenching his fists in frustration or anger. And I'm providing prompts. You can obviously run with this more Coffee as Mordecai as you want here. And you just feel that ache in your fangs, Mordecai. And Jacob is there. I mean, Jacob's a big dude too. I mean, he's like, you know, he's got beef and spice here. You know, so snap into a Stillwater by all means. Thank you, Desu, for the follow. Thank you for joining us. And so I'm going to leave this over to you, Mordecai. You're in this seat. You're hungry. You have this man who just, you know, maybe he even has, like, because he's asking questions with passion and intensity. It's his job. You know, he's got, like, the vein in his neck or his forehead even kind of going. And, oh, you are hungry. And even better, perhaps your predatory instinct. While he's asking questions, but he doesn't seem to be... Like, he doesn't sense the danger in the room. He doesn't sense that there's this predatory urge that's rising. So the moment, the initiative of sorts, whether it's a literal or metaphysical, the initiative is yours, Mordecai. I will step back with the prompt, and I will see what occurs in the questioning room here.
He just stares at Jacob. What was the last thing that you asked me? I don't remember.
That I asked you?
No, Jacob.
Oh.
Off the questions, started going through this. Touch of flame, stats, Bright's a killer. Oh yeah, he was making the comment of Bright was most assuredly a killer. That's been already confirmed. Your denial of that is, at best, wishful thinking.
I don't claim to know really anything about the way that Bright does things. She does them differently than I do.
Yes, you're a musician. So it's say that music soothes the savage beast, though it would appear not this one.
Mordecai, that thirst is growing mighty powerful. He's
Bright is not a savage beast.
I never ended up making the claim that she was. Merely that she ended up causing an officer to immolate himself. Which I would end up considering that a terrifying prompt, as can you imagine what she may have made you do? Maybe things you already have.
She's not like that. She's not like that at all.
Who's convincing you of that? If she's capable of making someone immolate themselves, does not stand to reason, then she can end up making you believe whatever opinion of her that is available. How can you even trust what you're believing at this current point? For all I know, that she ended up placing that very thought in your head to confess her innocence. You are in front of overwhelming evidence, and yet you end up continuing to say that she is innocent, that she is not a killer. Can you really believe
That wasn't
what you've
her
experienced?
intent.
Then what was her intent? The evidence points one way, Mr. Silverleaf. One way.
You don't want to push my buttons. You do not want to push my buttons.
Are you wishing to threaten an officer?
No.
He literally grabs the key to the manacles. I've done this song and dance more times than you care to openly know, Mr. Silverleaf, so if you feel like this is the way you wish to end up continuing the interrogation, I can guarantee you're going to be here significantly longer than you wish. That being said, if that is what you want, he tosses the key right in front of Mordecai. But know the second that they come off, I become significantly less civil. The choice is yours.
Sir, let me, and the guard standing by the door starts coming over.
No. The choice is his. If he wishes to be less civil about this, we can end up being significantly less civil. At this point, you are not providing any answers and claiming ignorance, but the evidence points to something significantly different, Mr. Silverleaf.
Then tell me what that is, because I don't know.
You said you were investigating the fire, yes?
Yes.
And that you ended up placing your hand upon it and received some form of psychic feedback, yes?
Yes.
Is this correct? Did you provide this information to Bright?
Yes.
So you did, in fact, tell Bright this?
Yeah? If I remember correctly, yes.
And what else did you end up telling her beforehand? The events here, Mr. Silverleaf? Jacob's keeping an eye on that key.
That was it. That was all that happened.
That was not it. You had neglected to end up mentioning the touching of the flames before until pressed. You also neglected to end up saying that you ended up informing Miss Bright. That implies that there's significantly more that you are still not telling me, and it's not until I end up pressing you any further do you actually end up confessing. Now, you can end up saving us both a lot of time by simply being straightforward with me, or you can end up continuing this song and dance. Your third option is to unlock those keys, in which case I can guarantee you are not leaving here with your limbs intact.
That's all we did, is run the experiment, and that's what I did.
And that's what she did, wasn't it? This was part of an experiment.
Potentially. I don't know her thoughts. I'm not a mind reader.
But she is a mind manipulator.
I don't know.
How much do you know? How much of your own travels with her? Perhaps you've known her for years. How can you know?
I've known her a couple of months.
That's what you remember. What does it take magically to end up forcing somebody to end up here, causing them to end up here doing such things?
I don't know.
Try harder, Mr. Silverleaf. You're dodging the question.
I have never studied that kind of magic. I, for all intents and purposes, have never studied magic.
But you are aware of it in lore and tales, are you not?
Yes.
Then start thinking, Mr. Silverleaf. What do you know?
What do I know? I want to do a history check. Do I know something?
About magic?
About, like, dominate person, particularly.
What this could potentially have been? What would explain the events as the Mordecai would know them?
Oh, I did say the name of the spell.
Yeah.
In the interrogation. And also I think it's on the Bard spell list. It certainly should be on the Bard spell list. If that matters to you.
Doesn't necessarily mean that Mordecai knows it, though.
It's, I mean, being someone who performs, being someone who alters people's moods to get them into an amorous state, to get them riled up, to get them soothed. You know, even song and dance and performance in a mundane fashion can alter people's minds. Let alone, I mean, you've taken Luciferase, you've taken other like psychotropics or other drugs, and so when you mix magic into it as well, there's nothing, you know, the way that the way she casts is different than you, but you're familiar with just being able to, you've counter charmed actually. You've actually gotten to use that bard ability in this game, and that's in a way compelling people out of a course of action that they were magically put into. This is, she offered a not suggestion. Why am I derping? Dominate. No, that's the vampire discipline.
Dominate person.
Dominate person, yeah. So, I mean, there's magic that can clearly influence people's decisions, even if it's not in their best decision. Now you're thinking, and it's so there's this to go off of. However, you are very distracted as your hackles have only continued to be raised, and as this is happening, there is there's this interaction, and the door guard was standing there because he was going to move in to assist. You tell him not to. And as he goes back to his post, the door swings open from the guard that was on the other side, and the guard inside, you just hear kunk, and his hands go up to his face like this, and the other one says, "Oh, sorry, I heard that things were getting tense through the door here, and no, it's fine. It just." And the one guard turns around, and Mordecai, he has a broken nose. Like, you just see blood pouring out of his face from where the door just, like, really smashed his nose. "Oh, you got me good. Oh." And he's like, "I'm sorry. That sounded like things were getting really heated." There's an injured guard, a non-injured guard, an open door to the rest of the precinct, Jacob, and then a very upset and hungry vampire, who is also thinking about emotional compulsion and manipulation. And the dam's about to break here, Coffee Cat. There's not too much more banter that can go on.
You really don't want to press me, Jacob.
I think I do.
No, you don't.
Why not?
No, you don't. No, you don't. No,
Why
you don't.
not?
Okay.
Mr. Silverleaf. You're hiding something, you know that. I know that. What are you hiding?
And it's about that time when he's like huffing and puffing that if you're paying close enough attention, it does look like his fangs are extending. Get that guy out of here!
Yeah, Jacob, it's beyond obvious now that there's like gouges in the top of the wood, and these are bared fangs. Especially as the one guard's over like, oh come on, I'll put a cloth on it or something. Like, we'll take care of this. And the guy's just it's like plipping onto the floor and.
Well, go here, see to his wounds. Close the door, lock it behind you.
No one's. Come on. There's enough in here. Whatever, someone will clean it up. And the one walks the other out, closes the door. You don't hear it lock, though.
It's at this point, Jacob's going to take a moment. He straightens out his stomach. Proceeds to flip the table to the side, casting the key aside, grab hold of Mordecai, and I'm going to put his face inches away from the blood. Out of reach. And I'm going to keep him pinned down.
Okay.
Okay. What do I roll for him not to tackle me?
I think this is an athletics versus athletics at disadvantage.
So this is so you're gonna have to you're initiating a surprise round. So go ahead and roll an attack at advantage, like a strength attack, Jacob.
Strength attack. All right.
Okay, an 18 is definitely gonna be hitting Mordecai here.
Yeah.
And so you are initiating a grapple, and so when we get into we now roll into initiative since the surprise has been pounced upon. So I need an initiative from Jacob and Mordecai. Okay, so Jacob, you are acting first after the surprise here. I guess technically in 5th ed we're supposed to roll into initiative and then we resolve. It's not a surprise round anyway. We're playing it how it is. So Jacob, you get to act as you have wow, feast or famine, a 29 or a 10. So for all of you at home, one of those numbers is green, the other's red. So Jacob, you throw the thing off to the side. You move like you get Mordecai, and then you put him into a hold. Like you're like on him, and you have him into a hold, and Mordecai, like your face is like on the floor like this, and there's just that puddle of fresh drippy blood from the guard's broken nose, inches away, and Jacob has you in a bind. Can you beat that with an athletics or an acrobatics?
Maybe with acrobatics.
Okay, so you
I roll a 19 or higher. Yep.
Well, let's see if you can wiggle out as.
Oh,
close. 28. Oh, Jacob, I mean, you are super flexing here, and Mordecai is just a wiggly worm. And for just a second, Jacob, like you think that you lost him, and then you just you clench up. And Mordecai, you got these big beefy muscles also like holding just right there, and you could huh?
I know what he is. I'm not putting my skin anywhere near him.
But you just hear his breathing, because I mean he's a living man. You know, his heat, his breathing. You just got these strong muscles. You can almost hear the blood pumping through his body as he holds you down. You try and wiggle out. But he keeps you on the floor. We're back over to you, Jacob, for dialogue and to maintain your grip. None of you in the audience can see that, which is fine. Just know that we're chuckling.
For you, copycat. So Jacob is going to place, making it very clear. Now, if you want any of that, all I need is answers.
Ooh, we're going there.
Or you can sit here and stare at what you can't have. I think we both know what you want. You know what I want. Seems like a fair trade.
I don't know anything more.
Oh, great. Well, let's see on how long it takes for you to go completely ravenous, then. What was the experiment?
We were just trying to get into the tower.
And how did the murder of an officer help accomplish that?
We were just trying to figure out if it was just... I don't know.
Just what?
If
Just what,
it
Mr.
was
Selene?
just me.
Insight check.
There's go ahead and
I don't believe him.
there's a as this is going on, and the door starts jiggling. We can't. There's something because you threw the door. It's blocking.
Oh yeah.
It's blocking the door here. Is everything all right? Read it.
One moment.
And Mordecai, like your face is just, it's squished into the stone here. And just if only you could just like extend your tongue several inches. It's right there. It's still fresh and glistening. Yeah, it's off the floor, and you know what? Maybe it's degrading that you're gonna have to lap it up like a dog, but that is exactly what you need right now.
I want to try and wiggle out
Sure.
and get to it.
Alright. Am I still at advantage at this point, or is it just given the manacles?
Yeah. You're at an advantage in this. Okay, so you're still. He's still got fight in him. He's trying to like even if it's just like not to escape, but almost just one more inch or something.
What was the experiment? You end up saying that to see if it was real. Well, right now that cost a man its life. Does that sound like Bright? I can't be that loud right now. I wish I could be.
I don't know. She's a wizard.
That much was made pretty clear when she poofed out of here. And do you have that same capability, Mr. Silverleaf?
Yes.
Hey, let's go.
And I suppose I go for the blood if I'm free.
Yep, you scramble forward, and hair drooping on the dirty stone floor of the interrogation room here, and Mordecai on hands and knees is lapping up the last drips and blood that is a little puddle that came out of a bloody nose.
As Mordecai does so, it's at this point Jacob, while he is licking the blood, removes the table, allowing the officers to observe the prisoner currently lapping the blood off the floor, while still maintaining himself between the entrance and Mr. Silverleaf.
Hoo boy.
That, gentlemen, is what we are dealing with.
And Mordecai, you are licking blood off the floor in front of just several people whose faces are just aghast at what they see.
Any of
A
the
little
other
bit of your strength in control come back. It's not a lot of blood. I mean, definitely if you have a bloody nose, you're like, oh, I'm dying. If you've ever, I mean, it could be like just a cold winter and you're like, oh, 3 drops of blood, oh, I'm dying. But I mean, he got a good crunch in, so. But we're not talking pints of blood. This is enough to. You got a fun-sized Snickers to make you less hangry right now.
Mm-hmm. I just press up against the wall.
Gentlemen, outside. Now you know that I'm fine, I'm capable of maintaining the situation, and Mr. Silverleaf has become suddenly very cooperative. As he knows what is going to be here happening if he were to leave this cell. Isn't that right, Mr. Mordecai Silverleaf?
Yes.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, guard the door. I will end up here making a lot of racket if I'm here requiring your assistance. But it would be better off if you two did not end up being in this room at this point with this individual.
They will exit, and the door will close once more. And I do want to flash over to Selene and Bright after this tension.
Before that happens,
Yep.
I just want this one bit. Investigator Stillwater takes a few steps to stand over Mordecai and simply says, I told you I was good at my job.
So now we're going to, meanwhile, across town, we are at the ossuary of Weejas here. And Casimir, if you still want a Casimir to go out, otherwise normal street clothes that were like donated to the church to give out to little tykes and whatnot.
That'll work.
You can get a set for Bright.
We can get you better clothes in a moment.
No, I don't want to take them from people that might need them. You think we should wait for Casimir to get new ones? I don't have anywhere to go anyway. I'll just go.
It's like it's fine. Just stay in here for now. I'll get Casimir to get you some clothing. So we are gonna do that, and Selene is going to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Casimir, make sure they have a hood. A big hood.
Will do.
Yeah, so as he goes out, I will put a in deep communion do not disturb
Sure.
sign on the confessional.
Okay. Yep. So Bright, you're returned back to that corner with the different like layers of the same woman whose gaze just it's always watching, and in its own way, because you can see the different layers of her her skin and musculature and her blood vessels and all this. I mean, there's an unfortunate almost like flashback to just watching this person just kind of just burn through the layers in existence as he walked through the fires. But at least you're in a corner and no one's bothering you.
Yep. Selena will leave Bright with, maybe you should actually recite some prayers. It might help. Selena will like grab one of like a spare prayer book and hand it to Bright.
Okay, I'll take the book.
You have acquired one prayer book to Weejas.
Okay.
Because why not?
Really...
I mean, why not, right?
But I might take more of an interest in the frieze or a fresco or a painting. What's the deal?
It is they're reliefs, so they're carved not into the wall, but out from the wall. So it's actually kind of a 3D texture, but it's a part of the wall.
Okay. So, when you say the eyes seem to follow me, like, is that like an optical thing? Or is it, like, do they actually follow me?
If you want to cast Detect Magic, you may. Because right now it could be either.
Well, I've probably got 10 minutes, 11 minutes.
You probably
No,
do.
it's 10 minutes for that one. So, yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and... oh, I don't have my spell book. I can't.
No rituals.
I can't cast it. I don't have the ability right now.
You have a prayer book.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can...
That's a spell book for me, but I mean, you could read through it, see if you could find some meaning in it.
I can leaf through the prayer book to see if there's anything interesting in it. I mean...
Okay.
Things that would be interesting to me. I'm not really interested in the prayers.
So, you look for, I don't know, you look for the good parts, I guess, in the book, and you know, it's averting your eyes at least from this relief that seems to be staring at you. That's the wonderful and tragic thing about magic, is it really makes you question a lot of different things. You know, is this magical? Because it could be. Is magic everywhere? It's a part of us, or is it? Do I control it? Does it control me? Those don't have to be your voices, but you know, if magic exists, so too can doubt even more so. Oh, Shuken, thank you very much for gifting the a tier 1 sub to Goblin Ferris. So welcome, Goblin. All right, so Selene, you leave this little girl, this little human girl, in the corner here to think about what she's done, and I guess she's on timeout, really. And you're leaving the campus here to.
Yep. I will be telling one of the acolytes is like, if anyone of authority shows up, I've just gone off to see to some business. I should be back at most in a couple of hours. If I am not, come looking.
Yep, that's fine. I mean, it's not ultimately fine because everyone seems kind of stressed, and a lot more people are asking, you know, where's so and so and where's so and so, but I mean, you don't know. They're not asking you per se, but there's a lot more people who've noticed that there's the upper hierarchy doesn't seem to be around. And where are you headed to then, Selene?
I will be headed towards the jail, but before I do, I'm going to step into a prayer nook myself.
Okay.
And I'm going to cast some magic.
Okay.
I am going to cast Enhance Ability.
Ah, okay.
Naming Eagle Splendor. I have advantage on charisma checks.
Okay.
And it'll manifest as just the brief show of wings and the eyes turning more avian, just for a moment, before Selene smiles and steps out into the flow of public, headed straight for the jail.
All right. So with a confident smile and stride, and just this aura of a mighty, beautiful bird of prey, our angel of death here goes trudging through the city, and it's a little ways to the prison here. Are you stopping along the way anywhere to get something to investigate, or are you just making a beeline right for the precinct?
It's a beeline straight for the precinct.
Okay. So you're picking up a vibe of the city. It is, now that especially more time has passed, some of the mists have depleted, as the sun is. You can like see the sun through the overcast sky, but there's still just this fine mist coming down on this spring day. And again, people are dressed kind of muted. There's still people talking. It doesn't feel. You don't get the vibe. Just the whole city has a suppressed feel to it.
That tower probably isn't helping.
And yeah, you can see the light and the dark acting as light, reflecting kind of up through the fog over in that area. So it's arguably even more visible because it can light up all the little moisture droplets and really just glow in the city. So
It's kind of beautiful in a twisted way.
You are walking through, and you reach the police precinct. There's people coming and going. Lots of guard. You've also seen that, especially around the staple stores, like you've heard me say before. Those are in more heavily patrolled areas, and a lot of the nicer area, like stores, jewelry, and stuff that's not necessary, is closed right now. But you make your way to the police station, and what do you do?
So there'd be like some kind of reception or whatever, yeah?
Yeah, you can go in. There's like a desk sergeant with some other officers, and they seem to be filling out reports. A couple people are brought in manacles. It does seem to be active, not super crushed and busy. At least that was probably on the first hour or so yesterday after everything had happened, or not even the first hour, but it would have reminded you like the front lobby area, the reception area of your ossuary. But it's still busy enough, as there's a lot of people that are in this city. Ooh, almost bit my tongue. And a lot of opportunity to pickpocket, loot, even people maybe who've been waiting for an opportunity to kind of take out, a rival, or or like that the
tower's chaos is their opportunity.
Yep. And so you're noticed walking in. And one of the officers says, "Yes, can I help you? What are you here to? Please tell me people aren't stealing from the church."
Well, I mean, they are, but nothing of true importance. They will get theirs in time. Do not worry about it. No, I'm here on a much more dire mission. I need to speak with Investigator Jacob Stillwaters immediately. The fate of the entire city could depend on it.
That's a very drastic thing to say. What's going on? I think Stillwaters is in one of the questioning rooms.
That doesn't matter. It is on a matter of the tower.
Well, we can bring a message to him, but he's getting some answers from
I must speak with him in private. It is exceptionally important.
Well, you're gonna have to wait, ma'am. It's until he comes out and he's done. He's doing something else that's very important for us. There's been a murder at the tower, and he's trying to get some information.
I actually have some information on that.
You do?
I do.
Oh, do you need to make do you need to? We need you to make a statement on this.
Well, then take me to him, and I'll be more than happy to make a statement.
Not that he necessarily, you're not lying. Go ahead and make a, I don't know, like a performance or persuasion.
Persuasion.
To get him to like, I will give you all this. I know what's happening here.
I'll make a persuasion check. I'll take the 10.
Okay, it's a 7 or a 10.
Hey, that right there is some mackerels.
So, the Eagle's splendor invokes, and unfortunately, you just sort of you leave
Luckily,
a bird dropping as your wings go. No, it's so you say that you have some information. Sure. I think he's. I'll tell you what, ma'am.
He's in an interrogation room. Yes.
What's your name? Who should I say has come calling from the church?
My name is Selene.
Selene. All right, very well. Wait here, and we'll make sure that he knows. If he's finished, then maybe I can even send him out to you. And so he gets one of the other officers to go further back into the station. And so it would be, we could probably even tie this in. So we'll have this be that this was the outside guard. it stops the other one, saying, "Well, it's pretty intense right now." I was like, "Oh, you gotta. This is really important. You gotta go in there and let him know because someone might have some information." And the guy's like, "All right, fine. Go back to the front. It sounds like it's busy." Yeah, it is. And so then the door guard sort of turns with the urgency that has been instilled in him by Selene and and clocks the other one in the face. And
it was my fault.
And then he's like, and things will play out as they do. You'll so Selene, you're told that it sounds like he was just trying to wrap things up. It's kind of generic speech, but he's not necessarily trying to lie to you. It's just he's telling you, yeah, we went back there, let him know, he'll be out as soon as he's done. And then about like a minute or two later, you see someone you see someone walking out, and their face is absolutely like, an officer walks out, his face is all bloodied, and he's like holding his nose and talking kind of like this because he's got some crushed cartilage. And so the one brings the officer over to you. You're from the Ouija Ossuary, yeah?
Say no more, sir. Come here.
And he'll step forward. Can you
Remove
put me
your
back?
hands.
I gotta get back to work. We all do.
Remove your hands for a moment.
Like, off to the side. What's that?
He's like, remove your hands. She's like, remove your hands for a moment.
He does. I'm just putting on a crooked nose effect.
Yep. She's gonna grab her with two fingers. It's like, this is going to hurt for a moment, but you'll feel better. Don't worry. And she's just gonna crack it back into place and cast Cure Wound. At level 2. So it'll be 12 healing.
All right. So with
I think you need to roll a medicine check too.
So with
you might have cracked it to the other side the other way.
I'll roll a medicine check. That's fine.
Yeah, go ahead and roll medicine. Since we're going to incorporate this.
26.
Oh, yeah. All right. So sure. Yeah, you.
Routine procedure.
Yeah. It sounds pretty gross though. So yeah, you say it's gonna hurt.
Probably a scream for a bit.
Got your nose, and then that's when you as soon as the cartilage kind of like is back in a general shape, you heal his nose up, and you do a very good job. It's not a rhinoplasty, but he's also not walking out looking like Owen Wilson. So. I mean, you could heal something out of place, so yeah, and then they say, "Oh, thank you. We'll make sure to drop a." Put that away, sir. Excuse me. There you go. No one wants to see that.
It would be appreciated.
Yeah, well, I'll drop something off. We're definitely getting overtime for this, and I'll throw something in the alms bucket at the ossuary. And so then they go and talk to the others. Jacob, there's another knock from another person as you're there, and the door opens slightly. Sir, there's someone from the Ouija ossuary named Selene. She says that she's here and has information on the murder at the tower.
Jacob's back is turned to the door at this point, as he's looking at Mordecai, who may be finishing up. Mordecai, I imagine your attention's more glued to the floor at this point. Would that be correct?
It was. I pressed my wallet back up against the wall once I was done.
Yeah.
So, I will see them immediately. And he places something on the table as he turns around and starts walking back to the door. And he's sure to lock it tight, leaving Mordecai alone. Well, Jacob is smart enough to take the key. He did leave behind something. He left behind what appeared to be remember that glass you were sipping on? It seems to be now filled with a red viscous fluid. How much damage do you want me to roll for that?
You carry a dagger on you, yes?
Yep. But I still have an old wound, and obviously that doesn't magically heal over the course of an evening, so it's just reopening a wound.
Yeah, just roll 3 damage dice plus strength, and that'll be. It's sort of like a slightly more critically critical because you're draining your blood out of a purposely open wound.
Okay. So 12, 82. Okay.
Okay.
And he simply just acts like he's wiping his hands of the whole mess. Reality is he's bandaging his hand as the door is locked. And he looks to the guards. To be aware, put here precautions up. Mr. Silverleaf is very capable of teleporting himself outside of that room on a given notice. Manacles should make it more difficult, but not necessarily impossible.
They will do so, and you can go out to meet Selene. Mordecai, you are left with a glass of fresh, warm Jacob Stillwater brand blood.
There's a thought in his mind for a moment. A thought back to Jade. She offered the same thing to him. So he thinks about it for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes it, and he downs it.
You feel an incredible strength surge through you, Mordecai. And as this happens, like, you're just getting kind of just this rush. And there's also a little wiggly feeling, just very subtle. Just a little wiggle throughout your body that is accompanying this surge of strength.
She has come to say hello.
And you, until it starts wearing off after X amount of time, we'll say you have a 19 strength.
Alright.
All right, so Selene, we're getting low on time, but I think we can at least start the scene or go through this. So you are taken to another area. Jacob is arriving, and Jacob, you see Selene. Make the magic happen.
Miss Selene of the Church of Ouijas. It's good to end up seeing you again. I have been hoping to end up encountering you again.
Quite. Do you have somewhere private where we can talk?
Most certainly, we have a lot to discuss. Please join me in here, one of the interrogation cells. I assure you, we don't need to manacle you.
Yet.
You can find a private area and slip in.
When he does so, he pulls a seat out for Priestess.
She will sit. Quite the gentleman.
My profession oftentimes ends up making such courtesies infrequent. I like to indulge in them when I have the opportunity.
Selene,
no complaints.
real quick, what's your passive perception?
My passive perception is 18.
Okay. You would probably see as Jacob is politely pulling the seat to you that one of his hands is bandaged with a fresh stain in it.
May I make an insight check?
Sure.
Just as to the
or is
nature
this
of...
more... Well, so...
Actually, would it be medicine?
Yeah, medicine might be more appropriate. I know it's still wisdom-based, but...
They're both the same, so it's fine. I'll roll medicine. 23.
Seems like a day-old wound that just recently reopened.
Does it look self-inflicted? That's the question.
That's tough to tell, but it wouldn't be something like he punched someone with his knuckles and they ruptured through his skin or something. Because he was still able to use his hand, even if it was a little stiff or there was a little fresh blood. So it was in It was an injury on the hand, but it's not a.
It's not down to the tendons.
It's kind of more
It's
than
generally
superficial,
quite-
or it's extremely selective.
It's extremely selective, so it was either something very precise or self-inflicted, but I don't know which. Okay. So, So, what I'm about to tell you does not leave this room.
That all depends on what it is to be seen.
That is the condition of me giving this information, no more, no less. It does
Well,
not leave this room.
If that were the case, then I can end up informing on your relationship with Mr. Silverleaf. One of your personal taste and your expertise. So, do understand that you do not have the bargaining chips here, but you came to me, implying that you need my assistance, and I would imagine that also means you need Mordecai's assistance. Mr. Silverleaf, and his fate is to be determined until I end up getting appropriate answers. So, given it is you and Mr. Silverleaf here, I can only imagine this involves your little friend.
I'm going to put it to you simply. The information I have is this. She is currently within the church. Now, due to holy sanction and the like, you can't go in and just send guards after her.
As a note, this is not. There's not kind of a Western European
Oh yeah, no,
style sanctuary.
She's just saying, like, it's less law and more
For
the
posterity.
sanctity of the place. You just don't send guards in there after her.
Yeah, so it'd be she's there seeking perhaps religious.
She's seeking
confession, atonement, service.
Yeah,
but
but
she's not immune from the law. She can't claim a sanctuary. And all right.
Yeah, no, it's like she is currently seeking atonement.
Mm-hmm. Do you understand the nature of the atonement?
Yes, for I was her confessor.
How convenient.
As is my right.
Yes, however, I do have to end up wondering, how long have you known Mr. Silverleaf?
A couple of months.
He writes something in his book.
We met him after the loss of another friend of ours, a tiefling man by the name of Raphael.
Makes
He
a
is buried
circle
in the
with lots of flower fields. So you're a long ways from home.
Well, me personally, yes, quite a way.
Well, so allow me to express to you the deal. You wish to end up here entering the tower, yes?
Yes, I have a working theory on the tower and its origins.
Would this working theory have to end up doing with the information gathered from the immolation of a city guard?
No, actually.
That's quite tragic, given the fact that seems to be the case of the reasoning behind the immolation of a person for no other reason than a curiosity. Tell me, are all of you here this reckless?
Quite frankly, investigator, I am neither here nor there on what Bright did. I can see how reckless he could seem to be. I could also see its possible benefits.
The benefits
what
of
the-
making a man immolate himself.
There is a lot that can be gleaned from the death of someone.
Fantastic, but tell me, how exactly does this end up working out? Because if I were to end up placing this all together, that would end up turning you into a co-conspirator.
To the contrary, actually, I only found out about the death this morning.
So you claim.
So is the truth. I would swear it under his own. Believe me. I have no reason to lie to you, investigator.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Selene. I mean, make a persuasion here. You're
With advantage.
yeah, with advantage.
That's delicious.
Fantastic.
Selene is, she's got that winning smile.
Under the blank mask, yes.
Well,
Priestess Selene, allow me to be very frank with you. At this point, the charge is murder, in the 3rd degree. I am under the impression that Bright was not in full understanding of what was going to happen, given him Mr. Silverleaf's experience. So, given that, I can see a very simple solution to all of our problems. One that allows you to continue to commune with your own dead, which is in the next room, I might add.
Yes, I was coming to check on him.
Well, let us
As
just be
I'm
said.
sure you found out, he has a condition.
I was not aware that being dead would be considered a condition.
It is one that I am looking into a cure for.
Fantastic. Well, that ends up making this all the more interesting. But, with that being said, what if I were to tell you I can make this all go away?
And how do you, pray tell, investigator, think that this is all going to go away?
You will end up taking the fugitive, Bright. You will end up bringing them towards the tower. I will accompany Mr. Silverleaf. You grab your other acquaintance with the mighty find behind, who I can only presume is looking after the little one at this point, also in your church, correct?
Yes, we managed to denaturify him. He is back to and
As I
not
would
being
suspect.
not being a chiseled specimen of sea salt.
Well, no one chiseling those abs. Still.
Well, a tiefling couple almost did. Literally.
That being said, if you were to gain access to said tower, be able to remove the flames as such, and be able to end up getting to the bottom of this particular mystery, Miss Bright walks away a free woman. Mordecai does not end up finding himself under the guillotine, and you don't find yourself short 2 companions, and yourself arrested for the destruction of property, as earlier mentioned.
Destruction of which property, good sir?
And he flips through the book, and I'm not going to flip to the pages. I think you know that he keeps detailed lists.
Yeah, he does.
He was there.
If you're talking about the grove, that was to get rid of a fey infestation.
Regardless of the purpose, you ended up causing its destruction.
Except that it's not property, it's not owned by anyone.
Not technically, as I end up finding the land, and the deeds end up showing that it belonged to one. Oh God, why am I forgetting his name? Famous caster. Jacob still thinks he's alive. Delos of the Blue Flame. The grove actually fell under Delos of the Blue Flame, who we are still waiting to arrive.
Selene frowns and he's like, "You'll be waiting a very long time then. Delos of the Blue Flame died."
That would be fantastic. That would end up meaning that we'll be waiting a very long time to end up having him here from your involvement and say, no, he pardons you for the destruction of his property since he's long since passed. It would be quite the wait. So I would suggest you end up finding your way to the church. Grab hold of who you can, whatever cover you need, and I will provide you the opportunity. And I will make this all go away.
Now, there's an issue with this. I have a working theory on the tower's origins, but I am no closer to getting inside it than anyone else.
One of you can get inside it.
Are you referring to Mordecai?
I am
Because I can
referring-
assure you, based on the flame's effects, I can assure you he cannot.
It would appear that for him it is painful but possible to survive, as unfortunately the others, the guard cannot say the same.
No, he cannot.
So,
Reparations will be made in kind to his family, as is tradition.
reparations. That's all they are to you, isn't it?
Investigator, I am a person who is steeped death.
Yes, I
Every
understand.
moment of every day, I walk the path of death. So, my apologies if I do not see one person dying, however tragic it may be, as the biggest of losses in the big picture.
Well, since you want to end up having that discussion, I don't have time for it, as I have a tower problem to solve. You're clearly not interested, so at this point I can just end up leaving it as matters, because you clearly have no interest in gaining any of your companions out of this situation. He gets up and he starts leaving.
It's like, that isn't true at all. Simply
He
put,
just
though,
keeps walking out the door. If she's not going to agree to terms, he's going to walk out.
Well,
you know what? Fine. We can try it your way.
He stops just before the door's already closed.
We can try it your way. But I'll warn you this, investigator. If Mordecai tries and fails because of your hunch, I will guarantee that you'll be following him.
Fantastic. I'm glad we can all agree. Walks up.
It's like,
Hey, Selene, there's a whole bunch of giants coming out of the temple. I just thought you might want to know. It's me. Okay, bye.
she's like, I'm sorry, what? Selene gets up and runs out of the
I'm sorry.
runs out
So
of
there you go.
the-
You have 22 more words.
runs out of the interrogation room, and she's just like, investigator, we have a bigger problem.
And I think that's what we're going to have to call it.
Yep, we're gonna call it here. As Jacob, you exit on that note. Selene, your ear gets a little tickle, and a little gnome voice says what it said, and you bust out of there. Meanwhile, poor Mordecai is still sitting in an interrogation room.
Yeah. Selene is basically going to, like, in that last little bit of the scene, is going to be like, it's just like, investigator, you need to get Mordecai combat ready. There's a bigger problem.
Well, we'll cross that bridge next week then. But you got to get going. You have Gathering of Nerds tonight. What's your prompt and level for this week's one shot?
The prompt is wall.
Okay.
And the level is 10.
Okay, solid level.
Yes, it is. It is a solid level. I still actually need to make my character because I have no idea what I'm gonna play.
Oh shoot! Yeah, hurry. Go make that. You're gonna be up in about an hour, right?
Yeah, in about an hour.
All right. We'll look for the notification.
Alrighty.
Good games.
Yeah.